This is part two, and it's what kind of savages would want to destroy cultural heritage sites? Well, there's one savage, Pete Hegseth. For him, killing is fun, and getting rid of history is even more important. Then he can't get caught doing what they're doing. Erase the memory, erase the history. Let's get into this one. This is part two.
Kale just passing by or just shopping somewhere. But on the other side of the story is thousands of people taking to the streets every single night for 17, 18 nights so far, taking on the streets to show support for the Islamic Republic of Iran, but also to demand revenge. I've been attending these gatherings, and one of the main slogans every night has been that no compromise, no negotiations, will fight against America. And this is what people demand. And this is very clearly the message that the people have. At Lord's Day rally also, I was in Isfahan and I attended the rally, and the square was packed with people. It took us a long time to be able to just move out of the palace, which is the second largest palace in the entire world. It's a huge place, and it was packed with people. And again, the message was the same, that we don't want negotiations, we don't want compromise, and we just want to fight the U.S. and the Zionist regime until our sovereignty is protected.
I mean, the point you made about these two states, the U.S. and Israel jointly bombing one of the oldest civilizations on the planet, and combined, they're just, a few hundred years old. And of course, in Gaza, over the last 2.5 years of the genocide, we saw the systematic destruction of the
Technical difficulty here. 1 second,
of
please.
these, millennia old structures, the Great Omari Mosque in Gaza City, these World Heritage sites, these sites that have been stewarded by Palestinians for thousands of years, protected, and just in a few seconds they're bombed, to dust, along with the systematic destruction of hospitals and schools, infrastructure, roads, clinics, universities. And over the last 18 days, of course, we have also seen the US and Israel systematically bomb schools all over Tehran. Can you talk a little bit about this important connection that people in Iran have to the people of Palestine, and how it's not just symbolic or some sort of solidarity in slogans, but it's actually a real material solidarity, the connection really that both Palestinians and Iranians are fighting against.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, I mean, I see it, or a lot of us see it, as two settler colonial states attacking thousands of years old civilization that are indigenous to this part of the world, be it Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Iran, and we have the same enemy. I mean, that one of the reasons that Iran has come under attack and the Islamic Republic has been targeted with sanctions, with assassinations, terrorist attacks, and all sorts of hostility, actually, is because Iran did not want to forsake Palestine, because it's not, we see the Zionist colonial project the attack on Iran as an extension of that colonial project. We see how the peace in the region only possible when this colonial project is terminated, and the stability of the region and the prosperity for the people in the region cannot be achieved until there is a settler colonial project that is acting with absolute impunity, protected, funded, and supported by not only the United States, but also all the so-called international organizations, including the United Nations. We watched live stream the genocide of the Palestinians for 2 years, and the international organizations or so-called international community did nothing to stop it. And Iranians see the Zionist regime as the same enemy. We all in the region, the Lebanese, Iranians, we have the same enemy, and we are from this region. And that's why you say, like, people are impressed by how Palestinians in Gaza, despite all the bombs that have been dropped on, as you said, hospitals, schools, houses, mosques, the Zionist regime trying to obliterate anything that is, Palestinian, that is a symbol of life in Palestine, and still nobody wants to leave their land because they are from there. Unlike the Zionist settlers who have been promised a better land, and from, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, they were promised a piece of land, and they just came there and stole other people's lands. And now when they see Iranian missiles coming their way, they just want to flee because they're not from there. They're not indigenous to this land. But you see the same thing with Iranians. I mean, a lot of Iranians, I've talked to family members and friends who do have the option. Obviously, not everyone has that option, but some people have the option to, for example, go to rural areas or places where there's less bombing, or even leave their countries, but they don't want to go. What we're actually seeing is that Iranians living abroad are coming through the border, like flying to Turkey, and then from there crossing the border because they want to be here when the war happens. This is the difference between the indigenous people of this region and the settler colonial residents of these occupied territories. And people probably have seen this beautiful interview with an Iranian mother who was out on the streets in Tehran holding her baby when the interviewer asks her, but what if this war goes into the cutting of water and electricity? And she's like, okay, and then you won't be able to change your baby's diapers easily. And she's like, what's the difference between me and my baby and the Palestinian children? We're the same. We saw what they did to the Palestinians, and we know that's the nature of our enemy, but we still want to resist. We would pay any price possible in order to fight back and not let them continue bullying the indigenous people of this region. And that's exactly what it's not easy wondering, every time we hear the jets flying over, where they're going to bomb. Are my loved ones going to survive? And having to check on them. It's very difficult, but we are very willing to pay the price in order to see an end to this colonial project and the bullying and the aggression that comes from the imperialist power and the Zionist entity. So it is totally connected. It cannot be disconnected. It's the same struggle that Palestinians, Lebanese, and Iranians, and people in the region have against the Zionist regime. And we're just a continuation of the same struggle.
Mm-hmm. That was an extraordinary clip of that mother and her child, and I know that it touched many people. And I'm also listening to you talk about the terror, and I think it is terrorism of bombing civilians, bombing residential areas, people shopping, and that is going on across Iran. We're probably not seeing a lot of it because of the lack of media coverage. We'll talk about that in a bit. But Yesterday, Iran confirmed the death of Dr. Ali Larijani, Iran's senior national security advisor, a well-known scholar. This came after an Israeli attack on a home of a member of his family. It killed him and his son and other people in the neighborhood, as I understand. Since the murder of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the start of this aggression, Israel and the United States have continued to target senior Iranian officials, both military and political officials. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu believes these murders will weaken the government and create a vacuum to bring about regime change. They've stated that's the goal openly. You've talked about how people have reacted, coming out into the streets, demanding revenge, showing their support. Talk a bit more about that. Is this war, and we know the Western and American and particularly Israeli way of warfare, if we can even call it that, is to target civilians and civilian infrastructure with the idea that if you make the civilian population suffer enough, they will turn on their leaders. That has been the practice in Lebanon for many decades, and now it was certainly the approach in Gaza as well and across Palestine. Collective punishment in the hope of turning people against their leaders. Is that working in Iran? Is it going to work if this war goes on long enough? What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, collective punishment of the people has always been a tool of imperialist powers and the Zionist regime. I mean, sanctions are a form of collective punishment against the Iranian people, and the United States and the Zionist regime were hoping that they would help turn the population against the establishment. And it's in some ways it did work, because especially the sanctions, because it's more difficult to pinpoint and identify the actual enemy, and it's easier to blame the government. But when it comes to taking out the leaders and the officials, especially when there's a total disregard of civilians' lives and civilian infrastructure, does the exact opposite. I mean, the top figure that they could take out in Iran was Imam Khamenei, and he was the most popular spiritual and political figure in Iran. And they took him out, and what happened after that was that a lot of people, and I'm hearing, on those streets, you can see even people who took part in the January protest are now on the streets demanding revenge. And they understand that this is not only about their officials, it's about Iran as a country and as an integral, with the integrity that it has, with the territorial integrity that it has. It's Iran as a sovereign nation that is a target of the Zionist and the imperialist powers' aggression. It's not the Islamic Republic.
And there you have it, folks. Yep. We go in and kill off their leader. He was 86 years old, or something like that. He had cancer. He was very religious, loved his country, and the people loved him. And sure, you have a section of people that don't like their leaders. Just look at the United States. Except we have one where a lot of people don't like it compared to what Iran has. So I don't want to hear any more about, the suffering of the Iranian people because of the brutal dictatorship. That's just all Western BS. It's a very, very religious country. Muslims love life, and they honor life. It's the Conscious Hour. Thanks for tuning in. This is a longer one. Please like and share, and please donate to the 501c3, the Conscious Hour. Thanks very much, and bless you all.